Welcome again to Jeremiah Porch Talks. This is where we take a few minutes and talk about leadership and life right here from my front porch in Sykesville, Maryland. Rain or shine, this is a time for us to reflect, reset, and get ready for whatever comes next in our respective life journeys. I'm Jeremiah. Thanks for joining me. Today, I want to share something that's made a real difference in my life, especially as a father, raising daughters who are navigating that messy, beautiful, and confusing space between puberty and adulthood. It's a practice called Appreciative Inquiry. If the concept of Appreciative Inquiry is new to you, do not be alarmed. I first heard about it about 4 years ago during a class about how to become an executive coach. The concept of appreciative inquiry originated in the 1980s. Specifically, it was developed by a gentleman named David Cooper and Suresh Srivastava at Case Western Reserve University. In the setting where I learned about it, in the executive coaching class, the practice was specifically geared toward a professional environment. But what I've found is that it's an exceptional tool as a parent, especially as we need to evolve our relationships with our children as they get older and move into adulthood. So let's get into it. In episode 5, using appreciative inquiry as a parent. Appreciative inquiry is a way of asking questions that focuses on strengths instead of problems. Instead of digging into what's broken, it asks what's working, what gives life, and what's possible. Now, I didn't come across this as some sort of parenting hack or therapy trick. I learned about it as a leadership model. But over time, I realized one of the best places to practice this wasn't only at work, but it was at home, around the kitchen table, in the car, during those late night conversations when your child is coming to you, trying to open up and also appear strong. It's there, in the real moments, that appreciative inquiry becomes a way to meet them where they are, without judgment and without pressure. Just curiosity and love. So let me break down the key components of appreciative inquiry for you. The classic definition of appreciative inquiry has 5 steps. And I've used them, sometimes clumsily, sometimes instinctively, with my daughters. And let me tell you, they've changed the tone of our relationship. When I'm doing a good job and using the methodology, I've noticed that our trust builds with one another. And when I'm a knucklehead and I revert to my normal ways of just pushing my advice in a more authoritative way, that trust quickly erodes. So here's the 5 classical components. And if you think about it, the big 5 Ds: define, discover, dream, design, and destiny. So that first phase, define. You start by identifying what you want to learn more about. Not the problem, but the opportunity. I want to understand what's helping you feel confident at school lately, as an example. Number 2, discover. You ask questions that uncover what's actually working. Hey, tell me about a time this week when you felt proud of yourself. 3, dream. You invite your child to imagine what could be. Hey, what would a perfect weekend look like for you this week? 4, design. You co-create ideas or plans to bring that dream closer to reality. What's something small we could do this week to make that dream weekend more possible? And number 5, destiny. You help them take ownership and move forward. Hey, what's that one thing that you're willing to take to do to keep building on that success? These questions sound simple, but they're radically different from the way that we normally speak, especially when you're worried, especially when we're trying to fix something or steer our kids away from danger. But what I've learned is this: when I stop trying to fix things, which admittedly is tough for me as a father, and start trying to discover and embark on a journey with them, my daughters are more willing to open up to me. And if there is any one thing that I would add to these steps, it would be this: be consistent and be predictable about your behaviors when you use appreciative inquiry, because ultimately that builds trust as well. As an example of appreciative inquiry in practice, let me share a quick story with you. Earlier this week, I came into the kitchen and noticed that one of my daughters looked disturbed. Not angry, not sad, just weighed down by life. And me being dad, I wanted to jump in and immediately fix the situation. I was tempted to ask the normal questions like, what's wrong? What happened? Who said or did this to you? And so forth. But I caught myself and I sat down beside her. I took a breath and I asked, hey, what was the best part of your day today? And she shrugged and I waited patiently. And then she said, well, when I worked out earlier today, I was able to push myself with the HIIT cardio videos I was doing. And from there, we began a conversation about confidence, about what she's learning about herself, about what scares her, about what excites her once we get into things. And eventually, naturally, we got to the thing that had her down. But here's the difference. She brought it up because she felt like she was safe, because she felt seen. Appreciative inquiry helped us create a bridge, a way for her to close the gap between silence and sharing. Appreciative inquiry doesn't mean you ignore what's hard. It just means you start with what gives life. You begin with strength, with resilience, with what's already good, and then you build from there. In adolescence, everything feels like it's shifting. Bodies, friendships, emotions, identities. But when a parent can hold a mirror to what's steady and strong in their child, it gives them an anchor. It gives them hope. And some may say, even legendary hope. So here's my challenge for today. Whether you're a parent, or a mentor, or a coach, or a friend, try asking appreciative questions. Ask what's working. Ask what lights them up. And ask what they're dreaming about becoming. And then listen. Because when you ask from a place of curiosity and not control, you create a space for growth, for trust, and for healing. That's it for today. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today on Jeremiah's Porch Talks. Rain or shine, I'll see you next time. And always remember to keep the most important things the most important things.